And we are live. Welcome to this week's episode of the Bullpen Cart, presented by ThunderblogSports.com. I, of course, am the G-Man, Jordy Cannell. With me in his triumphant return to the podcast, my man from Boston, Greg Piatelli. How are you, my friend?
Doing great on the eve of a great sports weekend.
Oh yeah,
coming off of last weekend, which was a great sports weekend. Fitting to be in a huge series for the Boston Red Sox, the team in which currently is in first place in the American League East. It's going to be a fun weekend. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, this weekend is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to it. The U.S. Open's coming up, but save that for the end. The World Cup starts tomorrow, so that'll be nice to have in the background. But we got some baseball to talk about, and we're getting to the middle of June. First round of All-Star votings come out, and starting to really feel like summer, Greg.
I love it. Jordy,
what's up?
If you had to pick, who would you be your opening day starter for the National League for the All-Star game?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, it's got to be Scherzer, though, right?
I mean, not Sir Anthony.
What, do the Tampa Bay Rays start with the setup man?
I mean, I don't know about you, but I got a question for you coming down the pipe about in my opinion, the greatest Phillies pitcher to ever take the mound for the team. Later on in the pod, obviously.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, well, let's start in our usual business, hot and cold teams. Greg, you want to start NL or AL?
Let's go National League. Let's mix it up.
You want to mix it up? Yeah, the National League going first. The winners, the future winners of the All-Star game. Just throw that out there.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
That's true. It doesn't matter anymore.
The American League won when it mattered. Not a big deal.
Yeah, it looked like the National League was never going to win during the home field. What was it, like 10 straight years when the home field mattered, or the home field was being decided? The American League won, and the National League finally squeaked one out.
Least surprising news I've ever heard.
Yeah, like they won like 3 of like the 15. But yeah, we'll start the National League. Hot teams. There's really 2 to choose from, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who come into the week 8-2, riding a 2-game winning streak at the moment. They're catching up to Arizona. Obviously, the Dodgers have had their ups and downs with injuries and all that good stuff. Just took 2 out of 3 from the Braves in LA, so that's pretty important there. They're hosting the Texas Rangers. They won last night, Tuesday night. We are recording this on Wednesday, if you couldn't tell already. But yeah, I mean, I think they're really starting to get their stride. They're getting guys back from the DL. So I think they're on the right track, and this long season is as everything's shaking out and getting going.
I love it. I mean, obviously, you want me to say the Diamondbacks here, which is why you went with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Being the Diamondbacks, also unbelievable tear as of late.
Yes.
But I'm going to surprise you here, Jordy.
All right, hit it with me.
Now, I know they lost 3 of the last 4, but I'm going to go with the Cubs.
Okay.
Because before that, they had won, I believe it was 9 of 10.
Yep.
Coming in before the last 4, which essentially has put them back into that second place in the Central. Only
should have been 8 of 10, but
what?
No, I was making a Phillies comment. Should have been 8 of 10. They had a walk-off grand slam against the Phillies last week, but that's okay. You heard me and Matt talk about it last week.
It could have been 10 in a row, but the Phillies did win the first game of the series anyway.
Eflin Mania, baby.
They are only a game back of the Brewers, who are on a little bit of a skid, but
they're playing this week.
Yeah, big matchup coming up between the 2 of them. Both.
No, it's happening now.
What, the Brewers and the
Cubs? They just lost. They just lost 2 of 3.
The Brewers lost to the Cubs. No, the Cubs
lost 2 of 3 to the Brewers in Milwaukee.
I thought you were talking about the Phillies playing the Brewers.
No. That is a big series. They played last week too, and that was big. But we'll get to that. We'll talk when we talk Phillies. But yeah, that was a crucial series lost by the Cubs. They'd gotten first place back, and then they lost those last 2. They got shut out. So I mean, well, that shouldn't happen too much more by the Cubbies, but it's a great pick by you. By the way, I did not compliment you on there, but yeah, I think they're another team that started a little slow, and they're definitely trending in the right direction. We saw this last year too, but I mean, they have by far the best, or not by far, but the best run differential in the National League. They have the third highest offense behind only the Dodgers and the surprising upstart Atlanta Braves, who won today against the New York Mets, and really helping to extend out that lead in the division. But no, I love that Cubs pick, Greg.
Thanks, Jordy. I love your picks too. Always.
You know what? Let's go to the cold teams and see if we can agree there. I'll let you go first.
Hey, cold team, National League. I mean, kind of a. I don't want to say the Mets, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pick.
Now we're talking about a team in a Western division that is still four games out. So still close, but in their last 10, they're just 2-8. And quite frankly, you and I thought the West was going to be by far and away the best.
Yeah.
Hello? Uh-oh. Jordy? Technical difficulties? Jordy? Well, I don't know if you can hear me, but I certainly cannot hear you. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the Rockies. Roll with it. The Rockies lost 3 in a row to the D-backs, lost the Phillies, got swept by the Dodgers. Sort of a Western Conference that needs to be close. I'm just going to assume you're talking right now, but give me your cold team.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I lost you. I'm going to have to do a little cutting. Do you mind repeating what you just said? And I'll do the cutting magic in a little bit.
Yeah, what happened there? I can't hear you anymore. Should we just start over? I can't hear a word you're saying.
Shit, are you still there?
I'm here now. Jordy?
Fucking shit.
Oh.
Sorry. Just my...
Nope. You're in and out.
Yeah, I
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Fucking shit. Am I even popping up?
I hear fucking shit, and then I hear nothing. Fucking shit. All right, go. Give me your cold team.
Wait, hold on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I didn't hear anything you said about the Rockies.
All right. Perfect. Are we live?
We are still. I mean, it's fine. I cut all this anyway. For the actual podcast.
Are people listening to us live?
No, nobody's listening to us live.
That sounded so depressing.
Yeah.
You know what? Next time you're live and I'm not on it, I'll listen in.
All right, thanks, Greg. Had depressing times in my life,
Stop, dude. All right, here we go. Stop cutting it. All right, my cold of the team of the week, Jordy, is the Colorado Rockies. Okay, they just got swept by the Diamondbacks, lost the Phillies last night. Currently
killing the Phillies right now, though.
Currently being the Phillies, yep, right now. But got swept by the Dodgers before that. So losing to teams in their division that they cannot afford to lose to, that being the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, simply because when you're only 4 games out, you need to not get swept by both those teams.
True.
Sort of in this back-to-back weeks there. So very easy cold team of the week for me there. Their offense is starting to sputter, and surprisingly, their home record, as we mentioned before, but their home record is so miserable, 11-19 at home. So need to turn things around there in Colorado and start hitting the bombs that we're used to seeing from every Colorado team. Jordy, give me your cold team of the week.
Yeah, so I've been going back and forth with a couple of mine. I mean, the Mets are, like you said before, it could be a pretty obvious pick, losing 9 of their last 10. I'm going to go with the Nationals, though, a little bit of a weird pick, but losers of 6 of their last 10. They're still about a game and a half back of Atlanta. They just lost about a week and a half ago. They lost 3 of 4 to the Braves, which that was my Bleacher Creature, if you might remember, the virtual one of the Atlanta Braves social media team. But they just lost at home 3 of 4 or 2 of 3, excuse me, to the San Francisco Giants. They lost last night in New York. They are right now playing the Yankees and winning. It is the bottom of the 8th inning, so the Yankees have 6 more chances to tie it up and potentially take the win there. But
they have
yeah,
two
I
guys
mean,
right now.
What was that?
The Yankees have 2 guys on right now in the
yeah.
Sorry.
And updating their website as the game goes on their channel. Good on you, ESPN. But yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm picking them, you lose 2 or 3 to the Giants, who they're no real slouch, but still at home when you're a game and a half back of the Braves, who have been great, but you lose 3 of 4 to them. You could be doing. They should be doing so much better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the fact that you have all these opportunities to pounce on a team like the Giants to regain this when the Braves are beaten up on the New York Mets. I mean, it's unfortunate to see, and it's probably going to work out in the end. We're talking about this with the Cubs, but the fact that you're not doing it right now is concerning in the snapshot of June 13th, 2018.
Yeah, no. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. They're beating teams that are good and losing, or that are bad and losing to teams that are decent or good. So
yeah,
not a good recipe in the long run in terms of playoffs and all that. So definitely, like you said, need to figure out, take a hard look, have a little players only meeting, and figure out what they want as a team and what are they really expecting, or are they just waiting for Bryce Harper and everyone else to leave and make their money. But
well, I got to ask you, speaking of Bryce Harper, did you see that an anonymous National League GM called Bryce Harper a selfish, losing player, and he doesn't want any part of him in free agency?
So my only thought is kind of like how this is going to be a wild comparison, but kind of like how who's the receiver there with the Cowboys?
Who, Dez Bryant?
Yeah, kind of like how he gets a bad rap.
Yeah, he has a pretty bad reputation with the team. I mean, he's cut for a lot of those same reasons, though.
Yeah,
on paper.
I'm saying like everybody who's coached Dez Bryant has loved him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great rap with his teammates in terms of how hard he works, in terms of his attitude, all that stuff, and everything gets taken out of context by the media. So I don't want to say that Harper is the same, but to me, Bryce Harper has always been one of those players where he's always been the best player, right, ever, and he hasn't really cared about his team, or maybe he has, but he's always sort of been that I'm the best. I got to prove I'm the best. All because this kid at 14 was touted as the next best player in the world. So
yeah, remember they're showing him hit balls across the road that was behind the outfield on SportsCenter.
Yeah, and literally, like, the kid was literally 15, 16 years old and left high school early to like become a pro. So it's just one of those things where he's always been that lone wolf. I got to be the best of the best, and it's tough to sort of break that model, if you will. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if we're being honest, I think the guy's just saying that so he can pay him less money, whoever it may be. But I think
it's not happening.
Yeah, I think any GM would be lucky to have Bryce Harper, if we're being honest. I mean,
no, exactly. Like, I'm not necessarily in the camp that I want Bryce, especially for the Phillies. I'm saying, although he'd be an upgrade to what the Phillies are putting out in right field nowadays, given injuries and whatnot. But no, he's definitely like, if I wouldn't be upset if the Phillies signed him. I'll put it that way. I'd be pretty stoked.
Yeah. And anyone would be pumped to have him. So I did see that GM thing, and I think it's just ESPN as well as Yahoo and any other sports thing drawn out of proportion, talking about things just to talk about things. If we're being honest and having a conversation with ourselves that's honest.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to knock down Washington after the Stanley Cup. They're like, oh, you guys are getting a little too hot.
Yeah.
Getting a little too hot here. Well, it happened to us.
That was the knock on Ovi forever, too, right? He's just out there for individual stats. He doesn't care about the team, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't play defense, this and that. And everyone who's ever played with Ovi said how good of a teammate he was, and everyone loved him, and blah, blah, blah. And now the guy's they're Stanley Cup champion. So, it's all relative. It's all
exactly.
It's all about knowing what's actually going on in the world. But Jordy, American League, hopping over. Hot team of the week. Who you got?
Yeah, so for my hot team of the week, I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners once again. Very happy that these guys are doing well, especially on the heels of finding everything out about Bobby Cano. I'm going to tip one of my players of the week, but one of the guys that they got in the trade from the Braves has been a great ad. I'm talking about Alex Colomé, the former Braves closer and current setup man for the Seattle Mariners. But they did take 3 of 4 from Colomé's former team down in Tampa, and they just swept the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California, of the West Coast of the United States of America, of which America? North America. They're at the it's not the Kingdom, whatever the hell their field is called. But they did just sweep them, and they're looking stronger and stronger every single time that we record a podcast. Their offense is really starting to click. Their pitching has been fantastic, and I think the Mariners, this isn't some type of fluke. I think they're going to be hanging around there. They may not win the division, but I think they have a really good shot at finally getting back into the playoffs.
No, I agree, and I mean the only thing that I'll say to add on to it is because the Red Sox are about to play them here coming up, and the big thing that they're harping on is how good defensively they have been all year.
They've been fantastic.
They're sort of winning games by gunning people out on the base path and keeping balls in front of them in the outfield as opposed to getting in the gappers and all this stuff like that. So huge series between the Red Sox and the Mariners coming up. Speaking of, since you chose the American League West, I was hoping you would go with the American League East and say the team that is truly the hot team of the week. But since you went with the West, I'm going to have to go, obviously, with the East. My Boston Red Sox, even though I don't own them, but
you're part of the Red Sox nation.
Yeah, so the Red Sox obviously took 3 out of 4 from the Orioles. Not bad. Swept the Orioles to beat the.
How have the Red Sox? Sorry for interrupting you. How have they played 7 more games than the Yankees? So
the Yankees had 2 games. I think that's what this series is now, but they had 2 games against the Nationals rained out. Remember, back to back.
Yeah.
They've had a bunch of rainouts, the Yankees have, and they're playing like a bunch of doubleheaders coming up. And the Red Sox,
the Phillies have a 5-game series with the Mets in July.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because of that sort of stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The Red Sox really haven't missed a game yet, knock on wood. They did miss 1 game, but then they had the makeup literally the next day. So like the doubleheader. So the Red Sox are rolling right now, and certainly their pitching is what to look for, what you can look at to make that case of why they're doing so well. Their pitching staff has been lights out, and even their knuckleballer has pitched the last 4 games and hasn't let up a run. So just to go, to call it what it is, obviously their offense is scoring a ton of runs. With the best, 354 runs scored, which is the most in all of baseball. I don't know if you've heard of it, by a lot. 354 runs is pretty good. The most by a lot. So
that quote.
pretty good. Most by a lot. So they're obviously crushing it, moving well, and they have to be because the Yankees, as you mentioned, are also on a nice little win streak of their own. But let's go Nationals. Jordy, anything to add on the Red Sox and why they're so nasty? If not, go ahead and give me your cold team of the week.
No, I was gonna since it's probably not gonna pop up in our top players because his week has been good and his whole season's been good. But with Mookie, I forget if it was ESPN or Yahoo that I got this alert pop up on my phone that it says he was surprisingly leading All-Star voting. That kind of the surprising really got to me because he's leading a lot of categories batting wise.
And he was leading every category until he got hurt for a week and a half. And then JD Martinez.
And he's one of the most popular players on one of the most popular teams in the world. Like, how is that surprising?
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy that should have won the MVP 2 years ago, even though he got robbed by Mike Trout, who didn't even play half the season. So I agree with you, Jordy. I'm not surprised at all.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's not like it's not like he's a player in that, losing attitude, only does it for his stats type of camp. Like Mookie's a team guy, or at least he seems that way from an outsider's perspective. I mean, it seems like that whole team just gels, and it's always been that way with the Red Sox, going back to the idiot days in the mid 2000s. That these guys, when they step into that locker room, they immediately become brothers. And I think that's one thing. I mean, baseball, especially with how much you're around these guys and how long the season goes, it's so important. And the Red Sox always seem to have that leg up on pretty much the entire competition.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where, if we're being honest, it's the media, the fact that how much scrutiny they get, how much how much the media turns on the team after every loss. It's the season's over. After every win, we're going to win the World Series. There's no middle ground. It's the extremes. For both sides, and they have no choice but to relate with each other. They have no choice but to connect. And I think a big part of that has been Pedroia and guys like that who lead the way, sort of just showing everyone, like, hey, this is, everything outside is tough. We got to be united in here. So
exactly
one of those things. But the Mookie Betts thing, I would compare it to Jose Altuve. Home runs are sexy, and that's why Giancarlo and Judge get all the love. But if we're being honest, Judge strikes out more than anyone else in the entire Major League Baseball, and he sucks. And Giancarlo, I was a big fan of his until he decided to wear pinstripes. But even though he got traded, but Mookie's like Altuve, where they put up all-star numbers, MVP numbers, and don't get any love, and everyone talks about them how good they are, but then they don't get it when it counts. So I'm pumped that he's leading the way for the All-Star voting. For there, Jordy, my cold to the team of the week, so you don't take it from me.
Oh, all right.
Flipped the switch. A team that's in first place. A team that's in third place.
Stealing it from me just to fuck it up.
Yep, in the Central, American League Central, that is. Which Central? The American League Central. Which American League Central? The United States of America. Whatever you say. No, Jordy, I'll let you have that.
Stupid name.
Listen, I'll let you have them. But I'm taking the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim from the American League West. A little curveball on you. That's why.
Right.
That's why I did my whole which Central thing. I was trying to be funny. Clearly, it dropped short. They came off a impressive 6-game win streak, and now they're on a 4-game skid. Granted, they got swept by the Mariners, a team within their own division, which you can't have. And then
can't do it.
Yeah, no. And then, of course, lost to the Twins. And it looks like their Shohei Ohtani.
Out for a year and a half.
Yeah, it looks like he might have to have Tommy John if he plans to pitch ever again. Now, wasn't that a concern of people's coming in? Wasn't the Tommy John, or wasn't the elbow thing, wasn't that like part of his, like, teams were concerned about him?
Yeah, there was something about that. I have to go double check with it. There was something about injuries that they were worried about, because I think he had like battled something in Japan.
Yeah.
But it was something of like, it's why like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Nationals, like the teams that have piles of monies, the Cubs, piles of money just to like throw at him. That's why like they weren't really jumping. And I think that's part of, and I think that and the proximity to Japan is part of how the Angels ended up getting him. Mm-hmm. I'd have to go double check all this, but that sounds right.
Yeah, no, and
it's funny that the Ohtani tracker is still on the ESPN tabs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by that because they're not well, we don't have to get into ESPN lies, but my cool team of the week, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which Anaheim, you got the spiel down, something about North America.
Yeah, finally, actually cold after Matty D picked them as his cold team of the week when they were on their 6-game winning streak.
Hey, good for him.
No, I mean, it was good on him. I mean, he's not going to take the Prophet nickname from you, but you know, it's a good little nod to you when you're not there, Greg.
Jordy, give me your cold team of the week. Actually, you know what? We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, it's the Detroit Tigers. I mean, I was really stretching to find somebody. I mean, the real reason why, similar to me knocking the Nationals for them not really capitalizing. I mean, the Indians are getting to where they should be, 5 games up, but you know, I mean, even them, they could be winning more baseball games. But the Tigers really could have held on. I mean, we were all pretty low on them coming into the season, so them starting to fall off, losing 2 or 3 to the Indians. 2-3 to the Red Sox, split the Yankees. They'd been on such a run, and now they're losing, or no, they're winning against the Minnesota Twins. So they'll gain a game back there. But I mean, they could have been hanging on to this magical run they'd been on. Really, that road record is really atrocious. It's 10-20, one of the worst in baseball, and the only team that has won less road games is the Baltimore Orioles, who really have fallen off the wagon. And I think aside from Manny Machado, because nobody wants to give up the prices that Baltimore's asking for him, I think a lot of players that are on that Orioles team, sorry to change gears, but I think like the Cincinnati Reds, they're going to find a big haul from a lot of they have a marquee player, Votto in Cincinnati, and Machado with the Orioles, but they have a lot of other guys that are having good seasons that they could ship out for a nice little haul.
True. And the Red Sox just played the Orioles, and Adam Jones being one of them.
Yep.
Zach Britton just came back from injury. Their closer, who was the best closer, blah blah blah, a couple years ago, but he's
hurt for like a full year.
Yeah, he's sorry, he's not the best closer in the American League, but also the MLB. That, of course, is Craig Kimbrell. Neither here nor there. Jordy, what's the next segment?
Yeah, so we'll move on to the top players of the week. We're going to start with the Roy Hobbs MVP of the week. For those new to the program, that is the top batter of the week. You want to start NL or AL, Greg?
I'm going to go NL.
All right. Who do you got?
Well, I really wanted to pick Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Paul Goldschmidt from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, pretty good week.
Great week. Hitting .577 this week. 11 RBIs, 4 home runs, and 11 runs scored for him total. What can we say about Paul Goldschmidt that hasn't been said before? The guy does it all. He's Anthony Rizzo, but not streaky. He's consistent. And, I would say the heartbeat of that Arizona team, and has been for a while. And he's one of those guys that goes about his business the quiet way, does it the right way, as they say. And I would say Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt? Oh, yeah.
National League Roy Hobbs Player of the Week.
I love it. No, and I think the other thing, too, that is worth mentioning, the strikeout to walks ratio is 5-4. Especially nowadays where you're seeing a lot more strikeouts across baseball. I think just having that ability to stay around one, other players, including my guy, have been under one this week, but keeping around there, especially when you're a big power hitter, and like you're saying, doing it the right way, it's important, and it's nice to see that he's doing that. But my guy, I'm going to go to St. Louis for Jose Martinez, a different J Martinez. He went 13 for 24. That's a batting average of .552. He had 5 homers and a double. It's a slugging percentage of .1208. 11 ribbies, just like your guy Paul Goldschmidt. Strikeouts to walk ratio of 1-2. 2 strikeouts over 4 walks on the week. So you got the consistency there. He's getting on base. He's scoring runs, 7 of which for the Cardinals, who they're having themselves an interesting time hanging around there. A lot of people's wild card picks and seeing where they're at. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I mean, the Cardinals are hanging around there. They're now, in the mix for that second wild card spot. They're a half a game behind the Nationals. So we'll see. And I mean, I think guys like him and a number of their other players that can really manufacture runs are going to be integral to staying there. And if they want to try to get towards the first spot, catch up with the Cubs or the Brewers, whoever eventually, kind of gets into that second place. St. Louis can certainly do that. And I think a guy like Jose can really help them out.
I love it, Jordy. Let's get some juice into this podcast going here. Let's pick up the tempo here. Let's get some juice. All right.
What the juice is loose?
Love it, Jordy. My hot player of the week from the American League. I know we want to do cold, but I'm skipping right over to hot. Nelson Cruz. Outfielder, Seattle Mariners. Red Sox about to play the Mariners. I don't know if you heard the Red Sox, best team in Major League Baseball.
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, he's unreal.
Oh.
The Red Sox are unreal. Nelson Cruz, 5 home runs this past week.
Big week.
What?
It's a big week.
Yeah, big week. And he had 7 stolen bases. 7 RBI. The big problem, I would say, 5 home runs, 7 RBI, which means hitting a lot of solo dingers. Need to get some guys on base there, Nelson. But with Cano gone, Robinson Cano, I'm not sure who Bobby Cano is, but Robinson Cano, who you mentioned earlier.
No, you never heard him been called Bobby?
I mean, Robinson and Bobby, I don't feel are the same name, but
classic Red Sox fan, not knowing the nicknames.
Yeah, right. Nelson Cruz with Robinson Cano out. Nelson Cruz picking up the slugging percentage, what have you. By the way, Gleyber Torres, the Yankees, quote unquote young stud. It sounds like they have a new young stud every year, but they suck penis. Arguing balls and strike right now with 2 outs.
That's
2 outs.
Vulgar there, Greg. Jesus.
2 outs in the 9th. Classic Yankees. But Jordy, give me your hot player of the week from the American League.
So I was gonna also pick someone from the Mariners, Mitch Haniger, but I'm gonna. He had a nice little walk-off hit for them, but I'll move over. I'm gonna go with Evan Gattis from the Houston Astros. I almost said the Houston Rockets, but that sport is over. He didn't have the best average week. He went 9 for 24, so that's 375. But
lost, boy. Let's go.
What happened?
Yankees lost. Let's go.
Oh, real Red Sox fan we got here. But yeah, he had 11 ribbies, the ties for tops with Goldschmidt Martinez, 3 homers. So I mean, he's getting it done. We didn't really talk a ton about the Astros and where they're at, but we mentioned that they're right there. They'll probably regain their lead on the division, but they're winners of 6 straight, 7 of the last 10. So it's good to be a Houston Astros fan right now, and a guy like Gattis is really producing for you. It's always good.
Yeah, true, and he was huge for them all last year in the playoffs. So
yeah, he was. Yeah, very good.
With no batting gloves, you definitely need him to have those runs there.
Yeah.
I love it, Jordy. Great pick. I'm so pumped right now. So sitting on cloud 9. Pumped that.
I'm happy for you, Greg.
Pumped the Yankees lost. Always a good thing. Jordy,
let's move over.
What's next?
We got the Billy Chappell pitcher of the week. I actually have 2, Greg, to combat your complaints, but I'll let you start, and then I'll give you my 2 picks.
Stop. You're gonna let me go first?
Yeah.
Any division?
Well, you want to do? Let's start the National League. I mean, I was just gonna pick 2 just to pick 2, but if you want to do league by league, we can do that as well.
All right, I'm doing Brad Hand, relief pitcher, a bullpen pitcher.
Yep.
To be true to the bullpen card name, since that is what we do, and I'm the only one who does it. Closer
I
for
really
the
didn't listen to my qualifier of why I picked 2, but okay, go on.
I had to snake it in there. Obviously, 3 saves on the week, 7 Ks, 0 earned runs, and a hold. So, unbelievable week from Brad Hand on the Padres, who, having another Padres low season there, but they did win 7 of their last 10, and he is a huge reason why.
Always worth noting.
And they beat the Cardinals and the Marlins. So
yeah.
And they took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. So some good teams, some not so good teams. But Brad Hand would be my pitcher of the week.
Yeah. So throwing out, kind of building off of that, Kirby Yates, their setup man, good week for him. He had three holds and a save. Pitched 5 innings. So nice shutdown for him to help out with Brad Hand. So I had 2. My bullpen guy is Colomb. I mentioned him before. Had 3 holds in 4 appearances. Not the best in terms of ERA because he one of which he got shelled and didn't do so well. But the other times, been a nice shutdown man for those Seattle Mariners, including in that series against Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and the rest of that of their full title to save from the Khaleesi. We're going to do the Jon Snow intro.
All of it.
Yeah, you like the reference. Don't groan. But my starter of the week, I'm gonna go with Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians. Had a nice week for himself. We would be kicking ourselves of not mentioning him, Greg. 21 strikeouts over 14 innings. He's 2-0. Only let up 1 run and 10 hits. And that is both a whip and an ERA sub 1. That is pure dominance. You're mowing people down, quite literally, when you're punching people out 21 times. But big week from him. The Indians winners 5 of their last 10, so they could start getting it going and really gearing it up. But I mean, but their pitching staff is firing on all cylinders right now.
I'm surprised you went with that. I'm surprised you didn't go with Aaron Nola. 16.
Well, I personally, because I know I'm going to talk about the Phillies, but you give me some time to talk about them. So I personally try not to pick Phillies players or the Phillies for any sort of the weekly awards.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go with Dylan Bundy from the Baltimore Orioles.
Dylan Bundy!
There's the energy and the juice we need, Jordy. That's what we've been looking for this whole pod. I love it. The guy has had 0 earned runs his last 2 outings.
Yep.
12 strikeouts. A guy who just mows people down. Also, he's got some funky stuff, which is awesome. So a guy who, like you said, is definitely going to be hopefully sold. If not, it'll be
one of the guys that I was thinking. I mean, he's young, so Baltimore might want to hold on to him. He's only 25, but
right.
True.
I mean, you're
he's
not
having
wrong.
himself a good year. I mean, for the most part, his ERA could be better, but
yeah,
the 4-7 record is really misleading because he plays for the Orioles.
True. He's having a great year, and his ERA on the year is unbelievable. So good for him. Good on you, mate. Jordy.
Greg.
Let me ask you a question.
Fire away.
Fire away, fire away. A ricochet. Tell me why the Phillies lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs, 2 out of 3 to the Brewers, and looks like they're going to lose 2 out of 3 to the Rockies.
Whoa. Let's not try to look ahead to the future.
And they got struck by the Giants, bro. What's going on in Philadelphia?
Yeah, so, we talked about the Giants and the Cubs series last week, but to reiterate, because the Brewers series was much like it, a lot of inconsistency, a lot of missed opportunities, which the Phillies did do last Sunday when the only game they beat the Brewers in. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of missed opportunities, some really shaky bullpen pitching, which was something that was a concern coming into the year. I referenced before the walk-off grand slam. That was the second game against the Cubs where it looked like the Phillies would actually take 2 out of 3. But that Brewers series, we talked about it on the last pod because we recorded it on Saturday, but we got the Vince Velasquez we thought we might see in that game against a good Milwaukee Brewers offense. But really, I mean, the big thing with the Phils there's is really bad defense. I think they have the second to worst fielding percentage in baseball, and it's really noticeable when you're watching these games. I mean, they're bad errors, Greg.
Yeah.
J.P. Crawford, who's been playing third base up until tonight, he got a night off since coming back from the DL. But he yesterday, the first play of the game, tried to make the A-Rod running bare hand and throw while his body's still on his side, and went completely wide right of both the runner and Carlos Santana, and DJ LeMahieu easily got second base from that. So right off the bat there's an error. Thankfully that they didn't score, and Aaron Nola was able to mow him down. He had a great night last night. I talk about it a lot on the recap, so go check that out if you haven't on thunderblogsports.com.
Yeah, and just for those who don't read, the pods and the write-ups, and the pods are one thing, but the write-ups and the stuff you got going on right now is unbelievable, and people really need to start clicking on those and reading those, because I find myself I don't want to say killing time at work, but definitely enjoying my work a little more, getting to read those every day. And I
tried to. I'm going to try to get them up earlier. I've been kind of haphazardly getting these up in the afternoon, so apologies there. Today I had a dumb excuse, but got in one last night. A teammate of mine in hockey, it was her birthday, so we went out for that. So I was moving a little slow this morning, but I'm going to try to get those up. I want to try to get out multiple blogs a day, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, and I hate the Phillies, so but I still read them. I still love them.
I'm glad I'm converting you.
Jordy, tell me why Sir Anthony is the best relief pitcher in Major League after Craig Kimbrell and deserves a spot in the All-Star game.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this the other day. The Phillies up until the dreaded road trip started, which that was a part of the San Francisco sweep was a part of it, but it looked like they were going to get multiple All-Stars in there. Now it's probably going to be Aaron Nola and probably maybe Sir Anthony Dominguez. I mean, he didn't let up a run until the grand slam that the Cubs walked off with. He let up one on Sunday, so his ERA, Greg, is now. I mean, it's getting a little too high, Greg. It's at 1.42. So, yeah. But he's got 7 holds, 3 saves on the year. He came in last night when Luis Garcia had himself another really shit start to the 9th inning, and he had to pick up the pieces there, inheriting the bases loaded.
1.42.
Yeah, 1.42. I mean, yikes. I mean, we all can't be Craig Kimbrell. But I mean, think about this, Greg. He got called up a month ago. He's made 15 appearances. He has 22 strikeouts. The guy throws hard shit when he gets in there. I mean, the whip that he has, or his whip, is 0.42. The guy is dominant. He is really the only guy in the Phillies bullpen that when he comes out, you can feel pretty confident that he's going to get it done for you. And the crazy thing about him, Greg, is that he's 23. Like, this guy, I love this guy.
Where's he from?
What's up?
Where's he from?
The Dominican Republic.
I was going to say, I wonder if his name translates to something different, but I love this guy too. I love this guy, Sir Anthony. I mean, already.
It's funny that you ask about him, because I've been getting a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to go into a deep dive on him at some point. So keep an eye out on that, kind of tying a bow on the blogs point. Keep an eye out for that book. That's probably going to come next week.
We're getting a lot of questions about him because he's been up for a month. He's already pitched in 15 games.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
But I mean, kind of to answer your question, coming back to your original question from before. I mean, the rest of the bullpen, if they're coming in, whether it's Tommy Hunter, Adam Morgan, I mean, Hector Neris is basically dead to the entire city of Philadelphia. So send him down, get him, figure out what the hell he needs to do. He probably is hanging out with Markelle Fultz's trainer. That's probably what his issue is and why he's such a fucking head case. But a little Sixers talk in there for you. But yeah, the bullpen issues are a little inconsistent, and the Phillies have a really hard time. They've had this for longer than the road trip, since before the road trip 2 weeks ago, but maybe for 3 or 4 weeks. But really struggled of stringing together base runners. They're a very good team at drawing walks. They showed it before the broadcast tonight. They're the only team with multiple batters with 35 walks or more, and they have 3 of them. It's Rhys Hoskins, Carlos Santana, and Cesar Hernandez.
Damn.
Their batting averages may not be where we want them to, but they're drawing walks, they're getting on base, they're just not batting. So they're not really driving in runs when they have these opportunities. So if they can start, I mean, their batting averages aren't going to be shit all year. And I think that's the crazy thing, the fact that they're going to now be 4 games back because they're about to lose, if that hasn't gone final yet, to the Rockies, and the Braves won today. But you're sitting, 2 games behind the Washington Nationals, and they're the second wild card team right now. You're not in the worst position in the world to be in, and the team's incredibly young. So I'm still pretty confident going forward.
I love it. Jordy.
Yeah.
Who would you say offensive MVP for the team quickly? Give me one name this year so far for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Ooh, offensive MVP. Yeah, it's tough because the last time you asked me this, it was a toss-up between Odubel Herrera and Michael Franco, who the latter of whom lost his starting job to J.P. Crawford, who's making a million errors, and Odubel Herrera's batting average has done nothing but plummet. I'm going to go with Carlos Santana, just because of the fact that he really does. I mean, he's the motor that really helps to drive in a lot of these runs. Not that Franco, who's now he's now in 4th because Hoskins and Herrera are tied for 2nd. But Santana has 37 RBIs. He's at 10 homers. I've mentioned before he has the really subpar batting average of 219, but his on-base percentage, because he has walked 44 times on the season, Greg, it is up to 343. So once he starts getting on base more via the base hit, because, I mean, he should be able to do that. I think it's going to be, that on-base percentage is going to be stellar, and I think he's going to remain as an integral piece to this Phillies lineup. Obviously not a long-term play, but he's been great at defense too. I know you asked for offense, but he's definitely been a good staple on the defensive side of the diamond as well.
Yeah, no, and I think the biggest thing that he has going for him is his walks. He's already drawn 44 walks, but I mean, it sounds like you just hate Odubel Herrera, and I think the people want to know why.
Well, I don't hate Odubel Herrera. I'm a big El Torito fan.
I mean, but last time it was between Odubel Herrera and Cesar Hernandez, and now it's between Odubel Herrera and Carlos Santana.
And Odubel Herrera and Michael Franco.
Right, Michael Franco. But I'm just saying, like, if Odubel Herrera was always there, you keep picking him seconds, like Phil in the U.S. Open. But
there it is.
Jordy, give me
Odubel Herrera's. I mean, he leads the team in batting average of qualified players. He has 7 homers, 33 ribbies. I mean, the one thing that I really would knock against him, his stolen bases are down, which he's never been. I mean, he's the center fielder, so you'd want that up there. And the Phillies, just in general, for how small and quick of a team they have, they only have one guy that's in double digits in stolen bases, and that's Cesar Hernandez at 10. But the one thing, I guess, that always kind of holds me back with Odubel is that he always seems to get up in situations late in ball games with runners either in scoring position or on base, and he always seems to strike out. He's struck out 53 times. We talked about this last week, but to reiterate, the Phillies already set a team record, Greg, for 10 strikeout games in a single season. They did this on June 6th. I mean, that seems like a weird, concerned laugh. I would hope you'd laugh at them more instead of acting like I'm just some unfunny person. But
listen. I'm laughing at the fact that I'm laughing at the Phillies, yes, but I'm laughing at the fact that you make it seem like teams don't strike out. I understand 10 strikeouts is absurd as a team. You should never have that many strikeouts. But when you look at some of the guys around the league and they get starting pitchers, they average, 10 strikeouts a game, 12 strikeouts a game. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
It's not unheard of.
Okay. It's the strikeouts there's a lot. The Phillies strike out a lot, so it's tough when you see that, especially late in a ball game. It just always seems like he has those opportunities, and the fact that he was doing so well, a month ago, and really that's what I've been seeing for the last 4 weeks is Odubel Herrera's batting average going from in the 340s to now 283. It's gone down 60 points. It's been a rough go for him recently. So
yeah, but
that bad taste is what's making him the Phil Mickelson.
If we're being honest here, Jorge Alfaro struck out 70 times in the year.
I don't know where you're getting the
Cesar Hernandez 65 times.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the pack amongst the Philly starters.
Your boy Reese 63, Aaron Altair 60, Scott Kingery 56, and then you get Odubel Herrera, and Carlos Santana is at 30. But the point is that there's a lot of guys who strike out a lot more than him on the team. But I understand why you're frustrated, where your frustration stems from. It's kind of like a crazy move. Jordy, I'm not sure if you guys talked about it last week, but I understand the money thing with Hanley Ramirez and not wanting to pay him and blah blah blah. But tell me why a major league team has not signed Hanley Ramirez yet now that he's a free agent.
Yeah. So how does it work with baseball? Does he, when they clear waivers, does he just go down or they completely cut him?
So they put him on waivers and
nobody claimed him. So is he with the Paw Sox?
No. He's not with the Paw Sox. He's a free agent. So
okay.
So the Red Sox are paying him. So a team basically just signs him and the Red Sox pay him to play on another team.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, where would you think would he fit in terms of that? I mean, if that's the case, or I mean, do they have to?
Let's talk about it. I mean, Cleveland needs power. Seattle could use a bat with Cano out.
Cleveland has a DH and a first baseman though. So
who does?
Cleveland does. Those are really where you put them as first base or DH. So I'm trying to think of teams that need that. All
right. What about Seattle?
In contention and would want to bring on another person.
What about Seattle?
Yeah, I guess Seattle might need him. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's talks of it right now.
I mean, Minnesota. Although they got Joe Mauer.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I guess maybe they're right. Maybe that's his biggest problem. Yeah. But you're talking about a guy who was a shortstop his whole career, and so he can play different positions in the field.
That's true. He can play different ones. But I mean, I guess it just has to do if you're a team in contention of, do you want to, especially because it's the middle of June, do you want to give up on a guy that you've invested in either, as a prospect or you traded prospects for, and bring on this guy? I mean, I guess on the flip side, you're giving him time to get meshed with the team and really get back into his groove. But that's a really good question. I'd be interested in seeing if there's where he goes and if there is any update on that front.
Damn. Listen, Jordy. Any bleacher creatures this week? Because I got a couple and I want your opinion on them.
Yeah, so I do have a couple. So we don't cross over. I'll let you start with one of your bleacher creatures.
So first and foremost, did you see Noah Syndergaard get tossed and then Collins, the manager there, his little interaction with the umps?
What, from a couple years ago?
Was this a couple years ago?
Yeah, this was a couple years ago.
It's just gone viral now?
Yeah.
Really?
Indeed it has.
Are you sure?
I am pretty sure because their current manager is named Mickey Callaway.
All right, you got that. You got that. So it must have been a couple years ago then, I guess. Anyway, doing Stevie G justice, then you know what? I'm not going to give mine. Go ahead. Give me yours.
So I have one that you might have seen, but it's the Omaha Storm Chasers bullpen. Have you seen this, Greg?
Yeah.
So the one video that went viral on the minor league baseball account is these guys who their bullpen's in the outfield. It's right by the pitch clock because they have that in minor league baseball. But these guys are going ape shit. They're doing the wave. One guy has a hose that he's spraying. They're carrying another dude like a battering ram and pretending to just go completely ape shit. It's nuts. I mean, it's what you need. It's the kind of just attitude. It's like when you see the dance off contests and rain delays in the college baseball tournament, which that is getting to the final stages of the College World Series. A quick update there, but yeah, that's my pick. I'm gonna try to share that video on the blog portion of this. So if you're listening to it on that, just scroll down a little bit. If not, thunderblogsports.com, and you'll see the new pod post. That's where you can find that link.
I love it. So then, it's a great one so far. Great College World Series guy. I know you love the College World Series, so I'm excited to see that blog post.
Oh yeah. I just don't know enough to cover it. I like watching it, but I'm not the best at talking it,
Right. So my thing today in the game between the Cubs and the Brewers, I'm not sure if you saw this. Joe Madden doing Joe Madden things. Okay, brings in a right-handed relief pitcher. Okay, brings in a right-handed relief pitcher. He throws. Guy gets on first. He moves the right-handed relief pitcher to left field. Brings in a left-handed relief pitcher. The left-handed relief pitcher faces Eric Thames, gets him to ground out. He brings the right-handed relief pitcher from left field to the mound and puts the left-handed relief pitcher in left field. So they swap positions.
Interesting.
Okay. The right-handed pitcher gets his strikeout, gets out number 2. He brings the left-handed pitcher back in from left field to the mound and puts Wilson Contreras out in left field for the final. Hopefully for the final out. And the left-handed pitcher gets a fly ball out to Wilson Contreras, ending the inning. So 4 batters faced, 2 pitchers, and he, instead of taking them out of the game, left, right, he just decided to switch them between left field and pitching. A move I don't think we've ever seen allowed, ever seen before. Is this Joe Madden doing Joe Madden things, or is he revolutionizing, do we think, the sport?
Well, I think right now it's Joe Madden doing Joe Madden things, but I mean, it is something that, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily see it in college baseball or in college baseball games to that degree, but a lot of those guys played outfield, or like in the case of college baseball, a lot of their outfielders are also relievers. So, I mean, it's not the most, completely, not to be punny, but completely out of left field idea that there's ever been. But, yeah, I mean, moving around players and it's an interesting concept and instead of, and I'm sure baseball probably fucking loves it too, because they don't have to worry about then of how much they're, because you don't have to go to a commercial break because the guy has to warm up. He's in the game, so it's just basically it's a defensive shift and a defensive realignment. So it's actually a kind of a genius move, but yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on if you want to use it going forward. To answer the second part of your question, if you know that guy's arm, like he's not going to be, I guess if you have a guy pitch 2 innings anyway, it's the same thing because they're waiting they're waiting in that case like 10, 15 minutes, but there he's waiting 5 minutes in between batters. But it's an interesting idea. I did not see that happen. I'm looking at it now. The 2 pitchers were Brian Densing and I'm going to fuck up this guy's name, but Steve Chizik, did I pronounce his name? Yep. And they pitched in the 8th inning. They were losing 1-0. So, why not try something else especially if you know that these are your 2 guys. So, I mean, Densing pitched really well against the Phillies in the outing that I saw him in. So, why not? And if he's your guy and you trust in him, go forward. I mean, that's sort of what Joe Madden does. He is a player's guy, and they love playing for him, so I'm sure they'll follow him any which way he takes them.
I love it. Do you have another one? Because I have one more if you got another one.
Yeah, the one I have, Matty D and I were talking about this. We didn't talk about it on the pod, but we were talking about this offline. Did you see the baseball fight that turned into basically a WWE brawl?
No.
So I don't know who specifically it is, but a fight breaks out. A guy charges the mound, or is starting to charge the mound, and a guy comes off the bench, gets picked up by the pitcher that is getting charged at. And as he's picking him up, you see a guy on his team come off the bench and basically clothesline the guy the pitcher is holding up, a la, and the CBS Sports account holds up a WWE clip of basically the same thing. The guy just getting completely leveled. Like, it is a complete savage move, and it's just completely nuts.
I love it. I mean, is there anything greater than a baseball fight that actually turns into a fight? Because how often do we see the bench is clear and nothing happens? And they always show it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
So, like,
the bench is clear and it turns into a fucking like fish concert. Everybody's sitting there kind of swaying around.
And this is minor league baseball, right?
Yeah, it's minor league baseball. Crazy.
Can you imagine?
Nuts. What's the other one you have?
Can you imagine, like, imagine going to a minor league game? It's supposed to be, you know, they treat it as kid friendly, and they try and make it seem like, you know, kids are first and blah blah blah. And you turn around and, like you said, an absolute brawl breaks out.
Yeah. Have you seen Brockmire yet?
Yeah. Well, the first season. I haven't started.
Yeah, the first season where he incites the fight in the stands.
For those who don't know, Brockmire, you should go watch it.
Yeah, if you have Hulu and you're a baseball fan, which you obviously are, because you're hearing Greg and I just talk about baseball fights in WWE, go watch it. I think it's like episode 4, but go watch the whole thing. You're gonna piss your pants laughing within 5 minutes of the first episode.
But first, make sure you read the Thunder blog, U.S. Open blog, which will be a great segue if I didn't have another bleacher creature. But would have been a great segue because I'm such a segue king.
You really are. You introduced the segments well.
Segue king, if you. Chris,
your regular Joe Bluth.
Thank you, Chris Sale today. Get this right. He gets 6th inning, walks the first 2 guys, is pissed because both ball fours, a 3-2 count both times. Both ball fours were. He thought were strikes, and according to the little box that the Red Sox have on Nesson, they were strikes. And he lost his shit at the umpire. I mean, Cora came out and took him out of the game, right? Cora took him out of the game, and on his way to the dugout, he goes, "You were horseshit today, Blue. You were dog shit." Those calls were and he used a couple more curse words about how terrible they were and all this other stuff. So. He went off the rails and off the deep end on this umpire. Mind you, he was already taken out of the game, right? He was already walking to the bench, and the ump throws him out of the game. And Chris Sale mockingly applauds him because he's like, "Good job, bud. I'm already out of the effing game." So
yeah. Have we gotten this? Is like Chris Sale cutting the White Sox throwback jersey.
This is the
crazy. Have we gotten this in Boston at all, or is this the first glimpse? This is the Chris Sale I think you need.
This is 100% the Chris Sale we need. This is the first glimpse. This is the first glimpse of him really going off the rails for something. And it's crazy because it really is like one of those things where he's already walking out of the game, right? Yeah. He's taking it out. He's letting the ump know.
Right, is he going to try to kill a Yankee?
Yeah, like, hey,
like, or is this? Like, I'm really hoping this is the trajectory we're going towards.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Like they get into a fight and he just comes flying out either from the bullpen or from the dugout, like with like a stool or something that the manager's sitting on, Alex Cora is sitting on,
or pull a Manny or pull a Pedro and just throw Don Zimmer to the ground. Maybe he'll throw Aaron Boone out the club and we can be done with Aaron Boone's little brother, or Brett Boone's little brother.
No, that's fantastic. I saw I got kicked out of the game. I haven't seen a video of it. I'm gonna try to find that for the blog portion of this.
But he literally was taken out of the game by Cora, and then just on his way out was like, "You were horseshit today. Like, you fucking suck."
Good job, bud. Good job.
Yeah, and the ump felt the need to throw him out, even though he's literally going to the dugout anyway. Like, what are we doing?
Some umpires are just fucking so sensitive. I remember Shane Victorino got tossed from a game because a strike got called a ball, and he threw his hands up in the center field, and he got thrown out immediately from the game. And he came sprinting in to cement the throw out and scream at the umpire. But it was like some of them are just fucking they have terrible manners, if you will.
Listen. So pull some editing guru, put my Chris Sale segment in before, and then we can do our segment thing after, right?
No, I like that we fucked up the transition because I mean. Really, we mentioned, because it's like we're Phil Mickelson. You can't get it done right.
Plus, we had that like 5 to 10 minutes where I couldn't hear a word you were saying, and I don't know if I could hear.
Well, that's going to be edited out, so everybody's just going to be like, "Oh yeah, they thought that was 5 to 10 minutes." Greg just paused a little bit, and Jordy went,
You're going to think I paused.
No.
Anyway, Jordy, haven't had a chance to read your U.S. Open blog since it just
went up right before we started recording, so it's been up for about probably 12 hours by the time you're listening to this podcast.
Give me
general audience.
Give me your head pick. Obviously not your hard pick, but give me your head pick.
Yeah, so my head pick is Jason Day. I think he wins at 2 over. I think the way that I've been seeing on a number of different accounts that I follow, from guys that have gotten to walk the rope in between the ropes today, guys that have taken, practice rounds there, whether it be on media day or actual pros and what they're talking about, how it's playing. I think it's going to play pretty tough. This is the 5th U.S. Open that Shinnecock's ever hosted, for the 4th in the quote modern era. They hosted the 2nd ever U.S. Open in 1896, but then 1986, Raymond Floyd won. 1985, Corey Pavin. 2004 with Retief Goosen, and obviously starting on Thursday. A lot of people's top, or maybe not top pick, but a lot of people are liking Phil Mickelson's chances there. He obviously finished second, not even T2, just second in 2004. He was 2 strokes behind Retief. He was 4 strokes behind Corey Pavin back in 1995. So he's played it very well. He's played the New York courses very well in the U.S. Open. Obviously, the meltdown in Wingfoot in 2006 is the one that everybody remembers. But yeah, I'm going to go with Day. I think he's won twice. Of the guys that I was considering, and you'll see this in the blog, I picked guys I've talked about guys who've won this year. I think that's going to be really important because I think it's going to play so tough. I didn't necessarily think it had to be a big hitter, so I didn't rule out Dustin Johnson. I think he can carry a lot of momentum from last week, and could potentially be the first person to win the weekend before the U.S. Open and the U.S. Open. But the big hitter and the way that Shinnecock can play, I think if you're not in striping your driver, which no one ever hits 14 of 14 fairways in a round, that rough is going to be so thick that I think playing the more conservative game, which a guy like Phil can do, Tiger's going to do because of how shitty he's been hitting his driver. And he hit 3-wood a lot at the Valspar when he finished second. I think a guy like Day, though, that can play consistently, he's one of the better iron players. And he's won twice. He won twice at major quality or major caliber courses. He won at Torrey Pines, U.S. Open course, and at Quail Hollow, which hosted the PGA last year. So I really like his chances. And I think it's crazy that he only has 1 major, and guys like Zach Johnson, Martin Keimer, they have 2. So I think this is a perfect time for him to jump on and get his 2nd major.
I love it. And I know you mentioned briefly Justin Thomas in there, but
I didn't actually, but he has a good shot at it too.
Sorry, in your blog. I just want to say something. Last year, Jordy, you decided to put Brooks Koepka in your write-up and said has a really good chance to win.
I did.
For your 2017 write-up. Now you picked Rory, and you had the cut at +5.
Yeah, I was dead wrong on the cut. I did have Koepka in there. I've only actually, in the official pick on a major, I've only gotten 1 right, and it was Rory at 2014 in the PGA. And I was off by a stroke on the winning score, not a big deal. But I have mentioned winners as like the stories to watch, but I've only picked one.
Listen, but you still had him in there.
Yeah.
You still had him in there.
I'm a big Kepka guy. I like him a lot. And I mean, like, I don't know if he's going to be the first repeat major winner since fucking Padraig Harrington 10 years ago, but, he could. I mean, he hits the ball well enough. It's just the only thing that I'd be concerned with him is that wrist injury. And I think in that, if he is a little shaky with his driver and he's in that rough, I think that that's going to be tough with a sore wrist. But he's played well since he got back from the injury.
I agree. So I really want Ricky to win.
Ricky would be nice.
He's inconsistent. I love Ricky. Spieth doesn't putt well enough, and I feel like you have to be a good putter in order to win this tournament this week. Although Spieth would be my other choice. Someone who is a good putter, Justin Thomas, who, as you just mentioned, obviously we're all pulling for Eldrick, but I would, in my personal opinion, I love Ricky, huge fan. Love Spieth, huge fan. I really don't want Justin Rose to win. I know you put him in your blog there.
I'm a big Justin Rose guy.
And I know you are, but I really am not. That's the
really
guy.
How come?
He's the one who took Tiger's caddy, right?
No, that's Adam Scott.
Well, they look the same. So
no, they don't.
What?
No, they don't.
They're tall white guys with brown hair.
Yeah, it's half of the PGA Tour.
Well, whoever the guy was that took Tigers to caddy, Adam Scott, I hate him.
Yeah, I will admit when he blew in the Open Championship, I think it was in 2012, and Ernie Els comes out to win it, but he blows like a 3-stroke lead with 4 holes to play. I was pretty happy, mainly because of Stevie Williams, Tiger's old caddy, and Stevie was a fucking dickhead.
I mean, he was with a dickhead, so he had to be, but I love it.
Tiger's just more of a psycho.
Go Tiger. The other crazy thing this weekend, Jordy, besides the Mariners Red Sox, not a big deal.
NBD.
Jordy, if you're not watching the U.S. Open, what are you watching?
Yeah, so I'll have that on. I'm probably tomorrow during the day. I'll have the World Cup on as well. But baseball wise, there's a couple good series out there. I mean, I know you're gonna have your eyes peeled on the Mariners and the Red Sox, which that'd be a fun playoff series, wouldn't it be? Seattle and Boston going at it.
It would be in King Felix in the playoffs. It's always fun.
Yeah. Has he ever gotten there?
Didn't they make the playoffs like 2 years ago or last year? They made the play-in game, or I thought it was
last year. They got close. I don't think they made it though.
Maybe he's never made it.
Yeah, he might not have.
I'm watching the World Cup, but Jordy, give me a baseball series to watch, and then we can get into our World Cup pick. Go.
Oh man, your World Cup pick's going to be better than mine. But yeah, obviously that's going to be on as well. But baseball-wise, I'm going to be keeping an eye out on, obviously the Phillies and the Brewers. I'll be recapping that here, so stay tuned. But one that I do really like, it's an interesting one, but I'm going to really keep an eye out on the Cubs and the Cardinals. We mentioned St. Louis. They're hosting this series, a number of good pitching matchups. You got John Lester versus Michael Wacha on Friday. You got Kyle Hendricks versus Carlos Martinez on Saturday. And then Sunday Night Baseball, you got Jose Quintana versus Jack Flaherty. And Flaherty's been pretty hot as of late, so that could be a real barn burner of a pitcher's duel, Greg.
I love it. A big fan of that pick, Jordy.
Yep.
I'm going Dodgers and Giants.
That's a good one.
Always a good, when those two.
Bumgarner back, man.
What?
Bumgarner back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they have him pitch on Friday, right?
Yeah. No, I have Saturday here on the schedule.
Perfect. So, I mean, those two are always fun, and the Dodgers got a little scuffle today, so good for them. So gonna be fun. Hoping Longoria chokes per usual. But Jordy, World Cup pick. Are you going with the favorites, or are you picking someone else?
Who's the favorite? Spain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to pick them. They're always, I mean, they're always right there, and they're pretty dominant, at least from my understanding. I'm just excited to watch it. I mean, I want to watch more soccer. It's fun to. I had a buddy in college that was really into it, and
Brazil is the favorite.
Brazil is the favorite. I'm gonna go with Spain though, because Spain, they're sneakily good, even though not a big fan of the Spanish golfers and Spanish tennis players because they whine a lot. And their soccer players get into that way too, but you can when you're that good. I just don't think Sergio and Rafa, they should be whining that much in an individual sport. But yeah, the soccer players, I mean, I just remember 8 years ago when they won and they were just so dominant they could grind it out. I remember they had that awesome goal off the corner kick. I think it was in the semifinal, but I'd like to see that again. And I mean, I don't know if they won the Euro 2 years ago, but they've won it a couple times since that World Cup victory, or at least once since the World Cup victory. So, for a guy that knows really nothing about soccer, I'm going to go with one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, the only thing wrong with that pick is how old they are.
Tell me about how I'm wrong, because I really know nothing about these teams.
Well, no, when they won, Jordy, all those guys virtually are back, right? Except for they have a new goalie, so their team is super old. You're talking about 2 World Cups ago that they won, right?
8 years ago, yeah.
So all those guys are not. Old is a loose term there because they're still in their 30s, but they're all older. Brazil just won the Olympics 2 years ago, so everyone. Granted, the Olympics were in Rio, so everyone has them going pretty far.
Yeah, but isn't the men's Olympics for soccer? Isn't it like U23 team? Is that like the actual real deal?
Right, you're right. But all those players are now.
They're now on the real deal team.
Right. Spain is a good pick, Jordy. 13-2 odds. They're the third best odds out there. But France is also a sleeper pick. A lot of people are picking. A lot of people want Messi in Argentina to win, just so he can get his World Cup because he doesn't have one. Obviously, neither does Cristiano, who's won about 9 Champions League. But I'm going Germany, repeat champs.
The Germans.
My big reason, I love Mueller, and I only play with Germany when I play FIFA. So
that's good. I mean, why not pick that way?
I mean, if it works for me in FIFA, I mean, you're right. Why would it not work outside of that? But no, it's gonna be. Also, we'd be remiss we didn't mention North America, U.S., Canada, and Mexico just won the bid for
2026, right? 8 years from now.
And the field 8 years from now is expanding.
Yeah, it's like the first ever. What is it going to be? 48 teams, right?
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully all 3 countries get a bid, so the U.S. doesn't have to qualify. But
that'd be kind of crazy. But I guess at 48 teams, you might as well throw them all in.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Yeah. And then obviously Qatar is the next one. But
is it still there? They didn't revoke that?
Yep, still there. They got the money. They're building the stadiums. I mean, once you build the stadiums, you can't take that away from a country, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
A country that no one ever heard of.
The stadiums are still the ones from Brazil are still doing well, right?
They are. The sweatshops going on in Brazil. You're right. No, Jordy, listen, are you nervous for Russia at all?
What if it's going to be rigged for the Russians moving on?
No, just if the Russian crowd does anything out of the ordinary.
I mean, isn't the World Cup in general is just it's like EPL soccer on steroids, right? Just in general.
I mean, it's a little different because you get people who just go because they want to say they went to the World Cup. So it's not like you have a whole stadium full of one
soccer hooligans. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you do obviously to an extent. But when it was in Brazil 4 years ago, obviously the Brazilian crowd was nuts, for their games, but, the US games, they sold out, but it was still pretty even crowd. I mean, obviously you get countries who travel better, like no Asian country. Although the Asian countries might be good for Russia. They might actually travel to Russia, but none of them have a shot. So neither here nor there. Jordy, any last things you got for the pod? Any last things you want to round up with before we call it a pod and have a great one?
Yeah. I'm going to try to go to the Phillies game on Thursday. It's an afternoon game. It's Jim Thome Day, celebrating the anniversary of his 400th home run that he hit as a Philly. Not a big deal. He hit 600 home runs, getting into the Hall of Fame finally. So it'd be cool to see him. He was, for the short of a time that he was a Philly, it was cool. So if you're listening to this before 1:00 on Thursday, keep an eye out on our social media accounts because I may or may not be there. I'm still undecided. I think Emily and I are going Monday, so definitely keep an eye out for that for Game of Thrones night. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. And I think that's against the Cardinals, so that should be a fun series. But nothing too much else. I'm excited for this weekend. Going to be playing some golf with some buddies, and then with my dad on Sunday for Father's Day. But I'm excited to watch the golf. I'm excited to watch some soccer, some baseball.
We didn't even mention the best thing that's going on this weekend.
Well, we got the golf. We got the World Cup. What else we got?
The release of The Incredibles 2.
Oh man, you're right.
I mean,
yeah. I mean that could wait until, for me, I could watch it anytime next week. But yeah, I mean, how pumped are you?
I mean, I don't know why you would say that. I mean, Incredibles might be one of my favorite, if not favorite.
Yeah. For Greg in high school, like real non-relatable from us, but Greg in high school used to yell out, "Where's my super suit?"
I mean,
all the fucking time.
Jordy, I don't know why you think it would change. I still scream out
good
incredible lines all the time.
That's the best part of that fucking trailer too. When he's on the phone, when Samuel Jackson's character Frozone's on the phone with Mr. Incredible, be like, "I'll be right there." And you just hear his wife yell, "Where are you going? You better not be late."
He goes, "I'll be there ASAP," and she's like, "You better be back ASAP."
That's what she says. I think it's gonna be really fucking good. Did you see The Ringer did the definitive rankings of all the Pixar movies?
No.
I forget where Incredibles ranked. It was top 5, but it was interesting because they did there's 18 movies, so they voted on their top 10s, like a Hall of Fame vote almost, and just gave out points that way.
Yeah.
So coming in tied for last because they didn't get any votes were Cars 2 and 3. I've not seen either of those, and then the Good Dinosaur, which I did not see. So I'm glad they came in last and they got 0 votes. So I didn't feel bad not seeing it, but it was an interesting list. If you haven't checked it out and you're a big Pixar fan, go read that. Might inspire you to go watch one of them. But yeah, that's a really good point. I forgot that movie was coming out.
Listen, go read the Thunder blog. Before you do anything else, go read the U.S. Open blog. Just read it during this pod. Loved it.
That a boy, Greg. That a boy. But always plugging the game. Always plugging the game.
Jordy, give us the ats to follow the blog and the sports on all the different apps and venues and outlets and blah blah blah. Actually, you know what? Give the website. I feel like we never give the website. Give the website.
Well, we gave it like 15 times in this podcast. But yes, thunderblogsports.com is where you can check out all these blogs. Thunder BLG on Twitter, Thunderblog Sports on Instagram, and on Facebook. But our Facebook page isn't really that too much to write about. But yeah, the Instagram and the Twitter, we love to update. Both myself, Maddie D. We should give the keys over to you when you go to Red Sox games. But that's... You and I can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was there the other day for Adele's Lemonade.
There you go. Yeah. Well, Paulie P's Twitter or Instagram stories, by the way, when he's on the field, those are fire.
Yeah. I mean,
that's Greg's cousin. I know we're being real relatable, but
yeah. Anyway, we can talk about it after. But Thunder BLG on the Twitter, great follow. a little too much Philly retweet, but I guess that comes with the territory, and it keeps
it's who's controlling the account. So I mean,
keeps me up.
You want the keys and get some Red Sox coverage in there. We could retweet some of your personal tweets. We could do that too. We'll talk offline. I think that's going to do it for us, though. Greg, thank you as always.
Jordy, thank you. Go Tiger. Go Sox per usual. And go Patriots, because we're almost in football season.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We're going to have to start figuring out how we're going to do our college football coverage. Quickly, though, if Tiger wins, how big of a fucking party is he going to throw on privacy, however the fuck you pronounce his yacht's name?
I mean, the guy brought a yacht out to the Hamptons to get away from everyone, and all he did was draw attention to himself by stopping in every single port on the way down from wherever, or the way up from wherever he came from, probably Florida.
Can I give you a quick theory?
Yeah.
Do you think, is this summer when Kevin Durant can opt out of his Warriors contract?
I believe so.
So I think he's going to opt out, but he's going to resign. But he's only going to opt out so they can have a Hamptons Boys thing and somehow pop up on Tiger's yacht like on Saturday.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure none of this can happen because free agency doesn't start until July, but let's just say it does so that we can have some crazy Hamptons shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I'm wanting more than anything for Tiger to win. He is who we watched growing up. Reading his book.
I might be able to jump in on my dad's bet. So for those that don't know, my dad has an over-under of basically, does Tiger ever win a major? I might be able to jump in on this bet. My dad is a firm believer in the no of that. Yes, he does in mid-round Sunday afternoon, which might make that awesome because he and I are playing golf Sunday morning. So that could be interesting. But
yeah, tell your dad I hate him, 1, and 2. I'll bet against him any day, any time, any place.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep that posted. But yeah, I mean, before we really ramble on,
I love that the listeners have no idea why your dad and I have a rivalry, but I love it.
No, it's good. It got always keep them wanting more, but that's gonna do it for us.
That'll be the story for next time.
Yeah, sorry for next time. We'll always leave it for next time.
We'll do that.
But that's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you leave a review on iTunes, 5 stars only. Follow us on all the social medias. You want all of that. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Bullpen Cart. For my man, Greg, the Prophet Piatelli, I am Cannell, the G-Man. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. And go Phils.
Go Sox.